Our world is transforming faster than ever. Digital revolution is reshaping the way we work, shop, educate, manage our health, and enjoy our lives. Technologies like AI, Internet of Things, machine learning are creating massive change. Digitalization has brought to reality the idea of a global village, where technology has interconnected the world economies, cultures, and populations. But in a world where everything is connected and is digital, cybersecurity is essential for everyone. As cybercrimes know no borders and evolve at a pace at par with emerging technologies, detecting and managing the cybersecurity threats is imperative.
Cybersecurity is nothing but, for example, let us look into the houses we all have, right? So we have all of our assets, we have our money, we have our furniture, we have our beds, and everything inside the house. And from time to time, we also take specific measures in order to protect our assets, which are also high in value with respect to the economical aspects of it, and also which are also really important to us. How we are protecting all of these physical assets which are pertaining to the house. In the similar way, in the digital world, there are so many devices that are connected, which are like a small mobile phone or an electronic system. It can be a network where the data is flowing, computers, servers, and all of them. So this is the entire cybersecurity is like protecting each and every device that is connected in the digital world from malicious or unauthorized access.
As a layman, it's just like any other crime which happens on the street in physical domain. The only difference is it's little blank and happening on virtual space, where the gravity becomes more intense when you can't see the person who has actually conducted the crime. So, and this precisely the anonymity factor of virtual space, that we cannot find out who is behind the curtain in the virtual space, and that is perhaps why cybercrime has, is gaining more penetration among different areas, and also it's affecting people who are in varied spectrum of lives.
There are a lot of phishing scams. There are identity thefts. There are so many fake websites and fraudulent messages. You name it, we have it all around us. And it is also important, like it is also need of the art to sensitize netizens.
Any application will have its access policy. Okay, so whenever we download, we get a lot of huge long page of document which is written in a small miniature alphabets, and nobody reads it, right? But if you go through those, they actually ask for the access to your contact list, to your pictures, to rest of the files which are stored in your device. So what happens is that they actually take our data, and the data is traded on, and we don't know where this data will go, and may land us up in a mess. So people normally have different type of pictures in their phone. They also, apart from some personal stuff, they also have their documents, clicked. As a student, you may have your ID card or your Aadhaar card or your college admit card or roll number. So there can be different probabilities, different set of data sets which can be generated.
The major factor that we always try to forget, right? That is the app we are installing from the Play Store, and the secure and the permission it requires. We never forget. We never discuss on the thing. We always see that there is an application, or let's say Facebook. Facebook requires your data, your access of your camera, cell phone, right? Sorry, your webcam, and apart from your camera, it requires your data, and it requires your contacts. It will read. It is saying.
Another instance is like you have connected your UPI to your bank account, and your UPI is also connected to your Paytm. And then you have different applications like Amazon and other stuffs, and also gaming apps. So whenever you keep on playing, you tend to buy some stuff as part of playing games, the amount can get directly debited from your saving bank account. So in all those scenarios, it may be done cautiously, but it may also happen unconsciously, by at times you give your phone to your younger siblings, or there is a kid in the house who has taken your phone. And there have been a lot of instances which have been reported to even Delhi police and RBI and different banks portal, that the child was playing a game and thousands of rupees, not 100, 200, or 500, in tune of 8,000, 10,000, 25,000, and somebody who has not actually kept a note of it on a monthly basis, something in tune of lakh of rupees, 2.5 lakh was spent, because every day he was playing games worth rupees 18 to 20,000, and the poor child was not knowing that he has actually evaporated the fixed deposit of his father.
The year 2020 witnessed an unprecedented surge in cybercriminal activities involving scams and phishing attacks on critical infrastructure, social media, medical and research institutes, and individual users. One of the biggest cryptocurrency hack took place in 2020, which targeted accounts of influential and well-known personalities such as Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Joe Biden, Elon Musk, and many more. The scam tweets asked individuals to send Bitcoin currency to a specific cryptocurrency wallet with the promise that money sent would be doubled and returned. More than 500,000 Zoom account credentials, usernames, and passwords were made available on a dark web crime forums. It was revealed that login details of users were sold on dark web as cheap as 1 rupee each, and some were offered free too. India's popular grocery app, Big Basket, reported a data breach which affected the data of 20 million users. The leak including personal information of users, email address, IP address, and full names, and contact numbers had been compromised and put for sale on the dark web for around 30 lakhs. COVID-19 vaccine research and distribution attracted the attention of the cybercriminals. According to multiple reports, North Korean hackers targeted at least 6 pharmaceutical companies working on COVID-19 vaccine in the USA, UK, and South Korea.
And this all this service kind of worldwide, not only just in India, finds that over it takes over 300 or so days before a company actually even knows that it has been attacked, because many times attackers just infiltrate your network, start observing your activities, try to figure out the architecture and the protection systems, and try to figure out how to breach it. They send back that information silently over the internet to back to their command and control server, and more payload comes based on the information that they send. These are called advanced persistent threats. So to figure out that your company has been attacked, it turns out that it takes close to 300 days, which means that for 300 days you are thinking that you have not been attacked and you are safe. And that gives a huge lead time to the attackers to actually do more reconnaissance to actually exact harm to your system, bigger harms to your system.
Recently, I was on one of the panel, and I was also truly shocked to hear it took a large. It took at the number. It's like close to $6 trillion of crime around the world in the first 9 months of 2020.
We have seen about very recently that celebrity, NDTV celebrity Nidhi Rane, a very conscious lady. She herself has been on the forefront of generation of awareness creation. She is the one who disseminates knowledge, information. She is the most careful person from any parameter. but she got herself embroiled in this kind of phishing attack. She was given to believe that she is being appointed as assistant professor of Harvard University or any other university to teach journalism, and she was befooled for almost an year.
Basically, we have seen in the most of the scenarios the cyber crimes happening in India. I'm talking about India. It was like people are falling into prey of phishing. The phishing was one of the attack, and another then digital payment frauds been taken up mostly. Also the ransomware attack, also the social engineerings were running up, and most of that rat remote access was also been there. So if we see in the phishing, what things were happening where cyber criminals is sending an email, or they are launching particularly an what we say, a system or a thing like creating a Facebook fake page, and taking up to you over there using a email or something luring offer, and trying to take your personal details as much as they can take, such like your passwords, your usernames and everything. And with the help of that, they are trying to launch, even though they are making you download, because in India we have seen, if a people read it's a free, then people will be obviously going over there and obviously downloading the thing. Okay, even though that has been seen in the children also, if the child found some movie, a friend says, and he is searching online, and if he is getting something to download, he will be obviously downloading it, and that is a main major threat. Where in the digital payments we have seen people are getting a KYC calls, and people are getting KYC calls, people are giving their informations. So, and all of that giving the information, people and the people calling them for the KYC is installing AnyDesk and all that applications and taking all of their money.
Not do it. Ransom is nothing but someone will try to come and lock our machines technically, and we will not be able to access our machines. And in order to, in case if we want to ask them, or in case if they have to release this machine so that all of us can access, we have to pay them some money. Only then they will be releasing all the machines. So the ransoms are at a very peak, and from time to time there were also a lot of compromises that are happening at the infra level.
Actually happened in many cases, like in big cities in Germany, government, the city government system, the entire e-governance system. It happened in cities like New Orleans, Baltimore. It happened in Boulder, Colorado. All these governments either paid out or they had backup. So there also was, huge ransomware attack on the on a company called Maersk, which actually does shipping, and they actually manage the shipping port in Bombay called Jawaharlal Nehru Port. And even at that time, that port had to be non-functional for a while, before they could actually did the recovery. And they actually got recovery because of a serendipitous event, that in one of their data center there was no power. It was in Africa, and then that data was not ransomware, and that was a backup. And the critical infrastructure, or any infrastructure whose compromise could lead to huge economic losses, national security compromise, and also can cause industrial accidents, it can lead to loss of human lives. In Ukraine in 2015, end of 2015, a malware was put into the distribution system, black energy malware, and then the Ukrainian almost 250,000 households lost power for a whole day until the things could be cleaned out. And then in the next year, again, a ransomware attack happened on the Ukrainian power system. And then in 2014 December, a German steel plant was similarly attacked. And the poster child for this kind of attacks was the Stuxnet worm that was unleashed in a nuclear enrichment plant in Iran in 2010, which actually led to creation of a task force by the US president to come up with a framework for cybersecurity of critical infrastructure.
Country A versus country B, if there is some political tensions that are happening, then immediately people start attacking each other, because cyberspace is the new war zone now. People are also attacking. So none of them are an exception for this cyber crime, be it a small country, be it a big country, whichever country is connected on the internet. So all of them are very much compromised.
Cyber terrorism has been increased a lot. Defacement is one thing, but because of cyber defacement, cyber terrorism, the things are happening. Like we have recently seen Chinese apps has been banned in India. That was a reason why the Chinese apps has been banned, because there was the national theft threat to the country, because all of the data is been going to the Chinese government data centers and all that, and because of that, the apps were blocked.
With around 451 million internet users, India is the second largest internet population in the world. Of this 451 million users, 66 million are in the age bracket of 5 to 11 years, as stated in a report by Internet and Mobile Association of India. Today's teens who are born and raised in the new technology era cannot envisage an offline world with no access to the internet or social media. From an early age, juggling with computers, tablets, and smartphones in their daily lives, with insufficient knowledge about cyber hygiene, they may become an easy target to various digital threats.
If you presume the kind of cases, or if you have read the kind of cases which has been dealt by different police of different states, even Delhi police, Chennai police, and all other different police of India itself, you will find out that there are people, including both girls and boys, who have been devastated because of digital footprints which have been created on their name, some fake videos with their face, or some other pictures maybe in compromising positions, which have been uploaded on or made viral on different websites. At this level, at this age, if something like this happens to you, the confidence of that child is completely shattered. The kind of acceptance he or she gets, or the encouragement he or she gets from the society, is altogether different. The kind of stigma they suffer for a prolonged time is absolutely different. And that creates a huge impact on their learning skill, on their execution skill, on their development skill, on the way they present themselves in front of 100 people, on the way they feel, the way they feel secure in the presence of different people. So that creates a huge psychological problem and emotional problem, which takes much more time span for coming out of it. And I would say those people who have had these kind of incidents in their families, it's really very difficult for them to come out of such stigma and from such emotional trauma, and just because of unawareness.
If you might have checked the website of the NCRB, then you might have seen the data that most of the cybercrime incident that is being recorded by the NCRB is of the school going age, right, and the college going age, because this is the only age where we can face bullying, where we can say sexting, we can say, right. So these are the basic problems. If a student is using internet on the cell phone, or by laptop, or by wireless update, right? So it's mandatory to check like a parental जो guide होती है. It is very important to check the parental guides to the parents, that what they are researching and what they are seeing on that particular website. So it is
For example, today's teens, when you look at like the part of Gen Z, normally we call it the young people who were born and raised in this new technological era, or the digital era, I have to say. So they cannot imagine a world without a device, without being digitally connected. That's the world they have been living in. And if I have to throw some light at the stats around the world with respect to this and people getting into this, there was a study done by the National Cybercrime Agency, which is called NCA in the UK. They say it reveals that 61% of the computer hackers identified in that country, for example, they all begin this activity at the age of 16. And in 2015, the Australian Bureau of Statistics and Crime Investigator reported that cyber fraud crime committed by under 18s had risen from 26% in the previous years by 84% in the next 3 years. And even when we look into the number of people who are trying to do these malicious things, it's not the irony to understand 1 out of every 4 people in US, or 1 out of 6 in UK, whatever it is, they, each and everyone, at least, even though they are not successful, they are telling they have attempted to do some kind of internet hacking. Everyone got access to the computers, and there were a lot of variety of low cost hacking tools that are available for the users online. And hacking is a term which has become so fancy, and then which has also become kind of an heroic, I have to say, when someone comes and says I am able to hack or get into this system or able to compromise that. It has become so much heroic in the cyber world. And people, when they have the small little tools wherein you have to spend some $1 or $2, even everyone can, even a child can afford that, right? And there are also hundreds of tutorials on the top of it, the digital manuals that can explain step by step to access computers, as to steal passwords, and all of this about the environments, the social media websites, all of them are having the content, focusing or targeting the teenagers.
See over here is children falling into this prey because the children want to learn new things, and the young minds basically learning new things because they capture the things so fast, but they are not known that how to use it in an ethical way, so that there is no manual of using it in an ethical way online.
Dark web is a place where there are specialized sites and chat rooms, etc., which basically you need special access to. You have to have special key, etc., to get access to them, and that's where a lot of the what we call black hat hackers hang out. And they have already discovered a lot of vulnerabilities at various kinds of systems, and they actually sell their payloads. They sell the exploits, so you can pay them using Bitcoin, etc., without having a way to for the law enforcement to track who you are. And you can buy those exploits, and actually, without knowing a whole lot of hacking, you can actually use them.
When people are actually not having something concrete to do, and that too economically, that means any activity which they are doing and which is and the outcome of which is an economic earning, uh, then certainly this is the easiest medium that they can deploy some of the things. They can post some of the videos. They can just make some of the calls like phishing calls or spoofing. So that has actually led to this problem of youth being misused and manipulated in a lot of domains, be it urban areas or rural areas. It's not that only people from a poor background or rural background are misused. In fact, students who are into the best of schools, just by virtue of having playing some pranks, and they are into it. It's 3 years of imprisonment or 1 crore of fine at the age of 15 or 16, when you are just going to pass out your school, or when you are 18. You have to when you have to plan and execute different things to make your life, you are sitting in jail. for 3 years, or your parents are paying up to 1 crore of fine. That is devastating for a family. And these facts of cyber laws must be known to families as well as students, so that this kind of devastation is known to them.
According to a report by Accenture, by 2025, there will be a 75.44 billion connected devices, generating a projected market value of $1.1 trillion. While greater connectivity via the World Wide Web and connected devices promises large scale progress, it also leaves our digital societies open to new vulnerabilities. But there are certain courses of action which an individual, corporate, and economies should adhere to keep them digitally safe.
You are not taking enough measures to protect your own systems, like your PC, like your cell phone, uh, any OS operating system gives you enough opportunity to configure a very high level of security in your system.
Happening. Once you are totally aware, fully aware with the thing, you cannot, no one can instruct you that yes, you have like won this much lottery, or you have won this much prize. So no one can fool you.
Space. Whenever you are moving in virtual space, that means you are surfing a website, you're checking your emails, you are you're filling a form, you're opening an account. You need to check that whether you are giving your personal identifiable information, that is PII. So what we exactly mean by PII is all those information which can actually fetch your financial information, which can fetch your identity information. So that would actually have a devastating impact, or actually lead to phishing. So in general, if you are moving into virtual space through your emails or any other data which you are giving, you need to check that whether this data which I'm giving is given to a source which is reliable, first. Second is trustworthy, and my data is secure.
So if you're getting a message from someone and saying that your Paytm KYC is been expired, you should always check. Paytm will not be sending you any of such messages for KYC. First of all, that's a basic thing. Another thing, if you see all of the malicious message which has been coming up, there will be a single spelling mistake, or there will be an dangerous English being spoken up on the message. Okay, so that I would like to say, if people is reading it properly, they would be just knowing from that message only that this is a fishy message. Once I was reading an article in Gujarat High Court was saying that a POXO awareness is the most important thing that should come up, because people are not knowing that for children also there is an act which has been created by India, and that's a POXO. And if you are doing such of the things with children, then obviously you are going to will be behind the bars.
I think today's youth are, I would say, very, very lucky people, because they are growing with in a very different age. You know, people say that the pace with which the technology is growing is becoming faster and faster every moment that is passing. If you look back 20 years before, the rate of change in the technology was slower. Now the rate is becoming faster every moment. Uh, People also say that the humanity is creating more knowledge per second today than it used to create 100 years before. So you are creating more knowledge today. You are creating more technology today. So that means that today's youth is more knowledgeable. Today's youth is the best candidate to know the things than the elder people, older people. So means if you are having information today, you are having more information than me, because you are youth. You are witnessing creation of more information, more technology per second.
I recently attended one meeting where they said they have made one Instagram handle as Cyber Dost. It is by MHA. So any problem if any individual faces can tweet to this Twitter handle, and they take care of it. They try to help the aggrieved party that how to lodge a complaint, and they help through the process also that the aggrieved party gets justice. If there are calls which are coming from hoax numbers or spoofed numbers, then those numbers are also tweeted on the same Twitter handle. Delhi police has actually gone forward and established CyPad, Cyber Prevention and Awareness Department, and they have got a very good, well equipped lab, uh, state of art laboratory for doing the testing, for analyzing the threats, for capturing vulnerability, and different type of cyber crimes are dealt there.
Cyber attacks, and I should say all of us also have witnessed the very first time after India received independence, our Prime Minister was talking about the importance of cybersecurity from the from Red Fort, and and he also mentioned very clearly India is also coming up with national cybersecurity policy. Yeah, and I also heard from our Lieutenant General Panchi recently in one of the events. He was also mentioning it's not just coming up with a policy, cybersecurity policy for the entire country, but then they're also allocating some amount of national budget for the cybersecurity policy on improving the technical infra. Now India is also coming up with a mobile policy. Like whoever wants to come up with an mobile application, they all of them have to follow this framework while developing a mobile application. So that, and at the same time, it is also important to have that server of that particular mobile application very well inside India, so that the data is not leaving the country.
There are regulations in particular sectors, like for example, RBI, the Reserve Bank of India, they are the regulators for banks. So there is a very strict regulation they put in place from 2015 for banks to actually abide by. And if the banks don't do the necessary minimal cybersecurity framework for protecting customer information, banking accounts, etc., then they can actually punish the banks with monetary fines, etc. Same thing with the SEBI, the Security Exchange Board of India. They also have that for stock exchanges and stock brokerage and all these organizations. There is also an organization called NCIIPC, the National Cyber Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center. They have some regulations, but they are very weakly done, and they actually are for critical infrastructure. They can declare an infrastructure as critical, like for example, in a power utility, in a water utility, in an industrial environment, and they can actually then monitor whether you are doing enough cybersecurity, whether you have cybersecurity policy architecture.
People know how to talk to a person, how to reply with the things, how to speak on any of the senior or in front of your junior. So it is something a matter of etiquette, right? So the physical in this physical world, it requires the etiquette. Then what about the virtual? The virtual world itself requires a lot of etiquette, because the netiquette, if you are if there is a lack of netiquette, so we cannot say that yes, we are developing towards the cyber security, or we are heading towards a very good information informative information sector.
have to have an watch on the tone on how you're commenting or how you're reacting on the social media, because one thing which is really important for all of us to understand, there is no delete button on the internet. Yeah, and when you put something aggressively on the social media, we never know, it can daunt us throughout our life.
So you have to go hand in hand. I mean, you don't need to compromise the digitization, because it is like stalling the growth, stalling the development. So this is not required. But the threats would be there. But rising to those threats, analyzing those threats, predicting those threats, and developing instruments, developing measures, developing procedures, creating awareness, sensitizing stakeholders about those threats is equally important. Of course, if you are not doing enough to safeguard yourself, secure yourself, defend yourself, then digitization can be very perilous for you.
As the drive towards digital transformation continues to gather momentum, world is changing faster than ever in human history, and this is an appropriate time for us to pause and reflect for a moment on cybersecurity strategies. Charles Darwin said, "It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It is the one that is most adaptable to change."